Fellow tennis nerds, today we are testing a bunch of rackets with Adam. You know him from the previous video, you liked that one a lot, so he will be testing a little bit here. This Pure Drive 98 I brought for the string mainly, but we have this funny one, the Zenath One, which is insanely large, but actually has a nice feel. He's a Prince guy, so you have to bring the Fantium. This is the one that people wanted him to test, the T5305S. We didn't get to that last time. And yeah, I've tried to feel this one, like that's the Rafa Origin. Wow. That's a bit of a log, actually.
Yeah, it feels actually like a club, man.
Yeah, it's a club,
wow.
Yeah. It's his personal spec, so you will get to feel how it is to be Rafa Nadal.
Nice. Does it have the 15 gauge string, the 135?
No, this is probably, yeah, it's just 135. Yeah, I put that in, actually.
Wow. Yeah, very heavy, but looks good.
Yeah, it should be good. And then PT57A, TF40, where I'm testing a prototype string, and another iconic frame. This is the Novak Personal with his string setup, his overgrip, leather grip, and weight. So this is all his spec, and should be fun to use. Well, it's not the hardest pro player racket I've tried. I've tried some, and this is much worse. I'll bring that next time.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, looking forward to finding some similarities and differences between the new and old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mix today, mixed bag, let's say. All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
Fellow tennis nerds, today I wanted to talk briefly about Fantium. They're doing a campaign where you can win 4 Grand Slam tickets, a signed Dominic team jersey, or $100 in credits. So there's 10 prizes on offer, and all you need to do is to sign up on their platform and buy a player token. And what is Fantium? It's a platform where you can actually support players and make investments in their career. So you get a share of their prize money on a certain time. It's kind of a unique opportunity to connect with players in a way. You can get like video calls, participate, and also maybe benefit then from their success. There are already 12,000 users on the platform. More than $500,000 have been generated, and we know tennis is a difficult sport to make financially feasible as a pro player, so any kind of initiatives like this could be an interesting way to do it. Check out the campaign. There's more info on tennisnerd.net. Use the link in description. Thanks to Fantium for sponsoring this video.
Guys, so we're getting ready for testing. I'll put the camera up. Gonna get Adam through the ropes today with some rackets. The Djokovic personal racket, the Rafa Origin. It's a mix. It's a PT57A from my personal stash, my favorite stick to hit balls with. And the Zenath One and a bunch of other stuff. We make it a little bit interesting today.
Nice. You get good easy spin.
So I hit first with the Pure Drive 98 strung with O-Toro spin at around 53 pounds, 24 kilos. First thoughts, Adam?
Yeah, great racket. I used to use the Babolat Pure Drive back in 2005, 2006, and it still kept the essence of a Pure Drive where you can hit, big shots without, too much effort. You can shorten up your swings, hit flat, hit spinny. This is a 16x20, which is one more string than the normal Pure Drive 98, so a smaller head. But I got just as much spin, if not more, because of the weight that it packs, and it felt a little more flexible for sure than the standard Pure Drive that I'm used to. And I felt a lot of confidence on the forehand and backhand. Good feel. It doesn't have a lot of pocketing, but the frame bends just enough to have confidence to swing out. The old Pure Drive, if you had a long swing and didn't catch it in the right spot, you would hit the fence, but great feeling.
Yeah, so a positive first impression, and then maybe you could try like comparing it then with the Aero, but you want to revisit the Aero maybe a little bit
Yeah,
first.
I think it'll be interesting to try them.
Yeah, because that's like their kind of control line that they really want to push,
Yeah, they're both 16, 20.
Yep, 98.
Yep.
Different beam profile and slightly different stiffness, but otherwise, like it would be an interesting comparison for sure.
Yeah, we'll try it.
Let's go. Here with Adam again, we've had a nice hit and tried a bunch of rackets as you saw in the introduction. Everything lined up here. But Adam, if we start, where did we start? We
started with the Babolats. We started with the Pure Drive 98.
Exactly.
And then the Pure Aero 98. And I think those are two rackets that a clear example of getting to the same result with a different path.
Yeah, good way of putting it.
The Pure Drive 98 actually to me felt more solid than the Pure Aero 98. The Aero 98 felt a little more hollow, but the ball flight was almost exactly the same. 16-20 open pattern. I just actually did feel more connected to the Pure Drive, but that's probably because I was shortening up my swing a little more than with the Pure Aero. So the Pure Aero, I actually sprayed a few forehands, and the Pure Drive, I actually had a little more compact swing because I felt like I had the heft behind it. But I would say they're probably the same weight, very similar maneuverability. I would say the Aero is whippier, but honestly, both very good rackets. The Pure Drive 98 felt great on the arm compared to a lot of Pure Drives that I've used.
Yeah, they did some magic with their tech, their NF2 tech. In both of these rackets, made them a lot softer.
Yeah.
For the elbow and stuff, right?
Yeah. I think right after that we switched to the Tecnifibres.
Yeah, so we had the one T-Fight 305S, which is the Medvedev Talon Grigspor version, and then we have the Rinderknecht and some other guys that I don't remember right now on the TF40, which is kind of their response to the blade. So T-Fight?
Yeah, honestly I struggled with this. I think it was probably due in part to coming off a test with two Babolats, which were easy power, just great spin, and then I just picked this up and hit a couple around the frame and it didn't go anywhere. Took me a little while, but I started actually hitting down on the ball, trying to hit flat, and I was getting some decent pop, but I didn't feel like I was hitting through the court very much with it. It felt okay, a little hollow maybe. I didn't mesh with it as much as I thought I would, because I do like hitting flat every now and then, but I would struggle to play with this in a match, for example.
Yeah, and it looked like more natural actually with the 16-19 TF40. That's just how I also felt your ball was a lot more tough to play with when you hit with this one.
I picked this up and it was a different story. I started hitting a lot more natural spin and felt, a lot of comfort behind the ball. Decent ball pocketing. I don't know what the stiffness is, but it felt very comfortable. I would compare it, honestly, to the Radical, the head Radical that we tried the other day, or a blade.
Yeah, it's a perfect comparison, I would say.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's closer to the Radical than the blade, but I need to test it a little more. But that's a good thing, because I really liked the Radical the other day. Good racket, this one. Very great design. Honestly, I have to point out they've done a great job with this design.
Yeah, it's less blue, red, and white, and more kind of white with the orange-green camo, which looks really cool. Like it's a good contrast.
Yeah, especially with these strings too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice.
This was a
looks
good
modern
racket.
but classy at the same time, which is kind of rare, right?
Yeah, good racket.
All right, man. And then we went to the heads, I guess, right?
Yeah, we went straight to the
the icon in the game used by Murray, Gilles Simon. Gilles Simon is one of your favorite players, right?
Yeah, he was one of actually my favorite for many years.
That's cool. Like it's kind of a rare choice, but he had such a unique style and way to play the game, which I think we miss a little bit. Adam and I talked about that. Like we want to have more kind of contrasting styles. Like now everybody's hitting so big from the baseline.
Right. Yeah, it was boring for a lot of people, but I absolutely found it fascinating, the mental battles and physical battles.
Yeah.
But I can't believe he actually played with this racket with multi-filament for so many years and was able to.
It feels even better with multi-filament, to be honest, but it's tougher to control.
Incredible racket. Honestly, I don't have the arms or the legs to play with it, but it felt incredible. Like just the feeling throughout the whole racket. You feel the whole racket when you hit it. Whether it's good or bad, you'll feel a miss, but you will still feel it through the racket.
Yeah.
And when you hit it, catch it clean and in front, truly a great racket.
Yeah, it speaks to you, that racket. Like probably would actually have to go up a little bit in swing weight. It's 340 strong now, which is pretty a decent chunk. But if you compare it then to the Novak Personal with his exact specs and string setup, pretty much. That one with the 360 swing weight gives you a bit more pop, and that was a bit easier then to generate power with, right?
Yeah. I mean, Novak's was also a very special racket to hit with. Never hit with this, but
PT346, yeah.
Yeah, incredible. Right off the bat, I was hitting high, heavy spin, which I did not expect to be able to do with this racket. But I think it's due in part to the strings, but also the weight. It's a perfectly balanced racket. I felt, incredible control from both sides. Just kind of able to hit mindlessly out on both sides. Swing up, swing flat, and it did what you wanted, really.
Yeah, you can see how he uses this one to perfection, because like it doesn't do any shot or stroke in a bad way, right? It gives you that perfect versatility.
Basically, it does what you tell it to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I absolutely loved it, and I would like to try this again for sure. It's just a great racket.
It is, for sure.
Yeah.
And then we went to a funny one, the Rafa Origin racket, and that is kind of a special racket in a way that it has exactly Rafa's specs, and that's a 370 strung swing weight. So it's a complete beast. We did a full review like a year or two back, and it's a fun racket.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a club, and that's a good thing, but you absolutely had to be behind the ball. And, you know, you see Rafa whipping it, but only he can really do that. I tried to whip a couple, and it was very difficult if you're behind the ball. If you catch it in front, incredible spin, speed, and it just felt very solid. You can actually shorten up your swing with it, and it actually gave you good results. But a tough racket to use. I thought it was going to be a little easier, whippier. It's not what I expected, but it was a good thing. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you get some respect for Rafa's and his physicality with playing with that for his whole career.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's swinging it so freely, and he is, but incredible timing for him to...
And you can also understand why he needs to build up reps. Like, he's one of those players that need a lot of matches and just go out cold and play with that. Kind of like, it seems like it's his style and his racket. Everything is kind of laborers, you know, in a way. Like, he needs to put in the work always.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great racket, though.
Yeah, you play well with that. And then we had two, I was going to say two frying pans. The Prince is not really a frying pan. It's the Fantium 100X 1820. But if we start with the Zenath, that is the true paellera, the real frying pan, you know. It is a funny racket to look at, but how it is to play with it.
Honestly, I loved it. I thought it was a great play test. I thought, you know, if you get over the shape, which after a while you stop looking at the racket and you focus on the ball, and then once I did that, it actually felt very comfortable, and it felt like a Prince. You know, it's a great box beam shape, and it's very flexible. Very flexible, but great spin. Obviously with the open, you know, the head
20,
shape.
21 strings, but the head shape makes the spin. Like, kind of, you can hit it anywhere.
There are a lot of strings, but and they are tight, but you get a lot of spin and good comfort. So in the end, you stop looking at the racket and focus on the ball. It's a great racket, and it'd be interesting to see them come out with, you know, honestly more conventional shaped rackets, but it'd be really interesting to see.
Yeah, if a similar feel, like if you can get the playability of that racket, and maybe a little bit less extreme, maybe like 105 or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it could be very interesting.
Very interesting. I loved the feeling. It's high quality racket, very easy on the arm, and very whippy too.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't think it would be whippy, but it truly was.
No, there's no shot you can't play, which is completely opposite of what you think when you start picking that one up, you know?
Absolutely.
Cool, and then you had, you're a Prince guy, we did talk about that in the last video where you really liked the Fantium 03. This one is without the O ports, it's a standard one, but it has an 1820 pattern. So what was your feelings?
First off, great design, love these Fantiums. Also felt a really good feeling racket. I do like Prince. I don't think I'd be able to game this though. 1820 Prince, very flexible. I just don't think I would have the legs or the power to hit through my opponent on the court with it. Great racket to hit from the middle, but I just don't think I would be prepared to play a full match with it. You know, I don't think I'd get a lot of easy shots with it, but it is a truly great racket. It'd be interesting to try the 16x18.
Yeah, I think the 16x18 has become my favorite. This was the one I was hard to pick between them, but then 16x18 is lighter, easier to swing, you get a bit more pop. And Prince's magic in the 16x18 pattern is that they're still controlled, you know?
Yeah, the 100, and it's a 16x18, but it's a relatively tight 16.
They found a way to do it.
They found a way to do it, and this was great. I just don't think I could compete with it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and I echo Adam's opinions. I actually like pretty much about all rackets. I don't want to influence him before we start testing, but Rafa's super fun. Pure Drive 98 is probably becoming more my favorite over the Aero 98. TF40 is definitely my preferred choice over the T-Fight 305S because it's a little bit more soft on the arm. It feels a little bit nicer on impact to me. PT57A is kind of my specs, but when you play with Novaks, you want a bit more weight because it's easier to get depth because these rackets are low powered. And Aero 98, it's becoming a modern icon, but the Zenath should get some props because it's one of those rackets that really plays much nicer than it looks from the shape. The design is nothing wrong, but the shape is strange to the eye. All right, so thanks Adam for another great hit.
Yeah, thanks. That was great fun today.